G'day guys, Alex from axephysiotherapy here. Today I'm going to take you through a lower body rugby mobility session designed specifically for the day after the game. Now we're always a little bit sore and sorry for ourselves after the game, and maybe there's a few sore heads as well from a great night out after a win, but this mobility session is going to help you recover the day after the game. It's going to be a full body session. We're going to start with the lower body, glutes, quads, calves, hamstrings, and then we're going to work our way up the body into the shoulders and finishing with the neck. The only props that you need for today is a band or a towel, and we're going to use a pillow and a chair just to help us with our mobility, because a lot of rugby players, we have a few bumps and bruises and old injuries, and we're not quite as flexible as some of those yogis that we see on the internet. So we're going to make sure that we do it and keep injuries in mind at the same time. So guys, at any point in time you feel like you've enjoyed the video and you want to see more, please like and subscribe to the channel. That just really helps me out. Anyway, let's dive right in. We're going to begin with the lumbar spine. It's always the one that's a bit sore for me in the morning, so that's where we're going to begin. So we're just going to go for lumbar rocks to start off with now. Just going to bring knees down to the side and then just going to bring them down to the other side. And we're just going to do this for about 45 seconds. And it's real slow, guys. Get your breathing right. Don't breathe with your shoulders, breathe with your belly. And as you do it, we're not trying to force our knees down. We're just letting them come like a bit of a windscreen wiper. One leg down at a time, coming over, and coming over the other side. We're going to do that for about 45 seconds. We're going to go for about another 20 seconds. Just windscreen wipers, guys. Great work. All right, so we're now going to go into a 90-90 stretch, or a 90-degree back stretch. So this just means we get into a tabletop position, so our knees are up. We try to keep our knees as a bit of a unit, and we come down, and we come down. Now this is just going to be 30 seconds. I'm running out a bit of a room here in my study, but just going to go with this. Now we should feel this in the lumbar spine, and it's going to be more of an aggressive lateral trunk stretch, lumbar spine stretch, as opposed to the rock, which is really just getting those joints moving. Now, rotations are a great way to get anyone with a stiff or sore back going. If I have anyone come into the clinic or come in to see me after a game, I get them doing rotations without fail. Very good. Now we're going to go into a sustained rotation. So we're going to stretch our right side first. So pop the left leg down, nice and straight. Top leg's going to come over. We're going to be on the outside of our hip, but the key, guys, is in the shoulder. Get that shoulder out as far as you can. Oh, that's a lovely stretch. So I'm going to hold that for about 30 seconds, guys. I'll turn my voice off for just a sec. Good. Got 5 seconds to go. Keep trying to get that top knee down to the ground, but don't let that shoulder come with you. So we're keeping the top shoulder down and the knee down as much as we can. And that's 30 seconds. So now we're swapping. So let's set up again. Get on the shoulder, get on the hip, bottom leg straight, top leg over. Keep the shoulder out. Oh, that's a lovely stretch, that one. Some of you might get some clicks and cracks in the back. Just know that that is normal. It's just gas popping in the joint, that's all it is. Nothing's realigned or anything like that. Lovely, guys. 30 seconds. So each of these stretches are just going to be a minute long. We want to make sure that we just get through this session nice and quick. 5 more seconds. And very good. Okay, popping ourselves up now. So we're going to go into our first hammy stretch. So we're just going to come on our knees, pop my right leg forward first. So we're tucking our hips underneath us and we're dropping back. So we're just coming forward, small hip flexor stretch, but predominantly focus on that hammy stretch. So we're just rocking back. We're doing 30 seconds of this. Try and focus on getting that hammy stretch in through here. Little hip flexor stretch, hammy stretch. And then hammy stretch, good. 2 more. Lovely, all right, swapping over to the other leg. So big focus is on that hamstring. So you can adjust your position. Feel free to use walls to balance on, guys. We're not trying to impress anyone here on Instagram. We're just trying to make sure that we feel good the day after a game. It's very important the day after the game to get moving. Take the dog for a walk, go for a swim, be in the water, take a small cycle, 10, 15 minutes. The worst thing you can do is sit on the couch and do nothing, guys. Trust me. Cool. All right, now we're just going to go on to our back one more time. Now, we're going to take our prop for the first time today. This could be a towel or a band. Nice and simple. Pop it around the midfoot. Now, we're not trying to go straight because that'll definitely hurt. So, thigh, knee up to the chest. I'm straightening up now. That's a lovely mid hammy stretch. So, show you again. So, thigh all the way up. Keep the knee where it is and just extend the leg up. And I'm just holding on. The key is to keep the hip and the thigh in the same position, and then it's just the knee straightening up. You shouldn't ever have a straight leg because that gives you that nervy burn behind the knee. So thigh straight up. Keep that bent leg. That's a lovely hammy stretch. So 15 more seconds, then we're going to swap over. This is the best way to do a hammy stretch without having to worry about much else. You know, you don't have to, if you've got a stiff lumbar spine, it's a great way to do it. And swapping over. So, thigh to chest, straightening up. Oh, lovely. All right, 30 seconds. Hope everyone had a win today, or yesterday rather. And thanks for all for joining me. I really appreciate everyone's support. All right, guys, we've got 5 more seconds. Excellent. All right, coming out of that, so now we're going to go into our hip flexor stretches, guys. So similar to that last position, but we're not going back into the hammy stretch. We need to tuck the pelvis underneath us. So tucking underneath us, squeezing the bottom, and then coming forward to get that nice hip flexor stretch. Now, the mistake a lot of people do is they don't sit up correctly and they just throw their back and they lean into it and they just don't get a good stretch. So in this position, we tuck, squeeze the bottom, and then we get a nice big hip flexor stretch there, guys. So another 20 seconds on that. Squeezing, holding. Now, I don't need to be here to get that nice stretch. I actually find I get the best hip flexor stretch here. So I'm just working really hard to squeeze, to tuck and squeeze. And swapping sides. Same again, I'm tucking, I'm squeezing, coming forward, I'm holding. Trying to get 30 seconds out of that. Lovely. Now, we're going to see if we can make this a little bit harder, okay? So we're going to pop our pillows, okay? Going to pop them behind us just to elevate that back leg a little bit more, okay? And that's going to give us a little bit more of a quad stretch because our foot is now elevated. Now, for some people, that might be quite easy, and for other people, when you stack enough pillows, that'll be as far as you want to go. Now, if it isn't, what we can do is come back to the wall, and you can pop your foot up on the wall and then come into a bit more of a quad stretch. So that's probably my limit. Holding in that position there, squeezing the glute, getting a nice big quad stretch. I'm always trying to tuck my hips through. Cool. Now when you guys go on to the other side, if you're now thinking about turning the video off because you're like, I don't get a good stretch with that, don't worry, I've got a nice compensation for you here. We grab our towel, okay? We pop it around the foot. We lie on our side. Now guys, if you're still on the wall stretch, that's fine. Stay on the wall stretch. So we can then, what have I done here? So I can use that band to now get a nice big quad stretch in that position there. So we're holding for 30 seconds. Now, if you're on the floor, another 30 seconds. If you're still on the wall, go for another 30 seconds. Now, those are all variations to get that nice quad stretch in. I would just say go with the one that feels best for you, and don't stress too much about it. If it, if you can't do the wall stretch, that's totally fine. Right, so we're now going to go on to. We're going to go into our glute stretches. So I've got two variations again, much like with the quads. The first one and the harder one was we're going to go into a pigeon stretch. Now, use your pillows to protect your knees, especially if you've had like an ACL surgery. Some people are still a bit sensitive on that front of the knee, or you just don't like being on your knees that much. We're going to go into a pigeon stretch, pop something underneath the knee. Now, I quite personally like to keep the chest off the ground because I think when people come to the floor, they actually take their glutes off stretch. So what we want to do is leg up, leg across on the pillows, keep the chest upright, and then if you've got the flexibility, keep the chest upright, and then you can lower yourself to the floor, but the chest has to be upright. We can't let our back bend. So another 20 seconds. And we're swapping over. Lovely work, guys. So back nice and straight, sinking into that hip. I'm trying to feel that stretch in my glutes at the back. Lovely. Good. Now, if that was a little bit difficult, you can go into that cross leg stretch, pulling up like that. So we're just doing this quickly for 10 seconds. And we can go on to the other side. And we can go up for 10 seconds. Now, this is just for those people that found that pigeon stretch a little bit hard. This would be the variation that I would choose for you to do. Great work. Okay, now we're going to go into our groin. So, on our knees, guys, we're going to pop one leg out to the side. Okay, so I'm in this position. Now, your toe doesn't have to be forward. The heel can come up, whatever you need. And I'm rocking back. And I'm rocking back slowly. I'll show you a side-on version. So 30 seconds of this. I'm just going to change my position. You can stay where you are. So my foot's out to the side. And I'm rocking back. Great for people that do suffer from a little bit of hip and groin pain. Very common in male rugby players especially, but some girls can get it as well, although it's just not as common. Boys are more likely to get groin and hamstring. Girls are a little bit more likely to get sort of knee and ankle type stuff. Girls also tend to get quite a bit of lower back stuff from time to time as well. So swapping over. Great work. And we're finishing up there. Right, so now we're just going to go just into a bit of a calf stretch. So coming up, just a classic calf stretch. If it's too much to have both legs off, just like that, or you can do this in standing, of course. Now, I'll just be going out of frame for a second here. But you can just come up to a calf stretch like that if you don't want to be on that all fours position. So 5 more seconds. Swapping over. Now, I'm someone that always suffers with cramps, so I find this the morning after is very difficult. But definitely good if you're someone that does suffer from cramps during a game and after the match. All right, so that's lower body done. We're now going to go on to working our way up to the upper body. So the first thoracic stretch we're going to do is called threading the needle. Hands in each position, hand on the mat, palm up, coming underneath as far as you can, and then coming back, and we're opening. Hand under, reach and stretch, and coming up. This is our only thoracic one for today. And then stretching. Lovely. Reaching up. I like to crawl my fingers along the ground. Gives me that little bit of extra range. I try to keep my top arm as straight as possible, but if it needs to bend a little bit, I don't mind. And swapping over. So crawling under, twisting, reaching. Two more. All right, now we're all probably dreading getting to the shoulders because that tends to be what's sore if you're a forward and not so much if you're a back, and backs don't be offended. I'm a back as well and I hate tackling, so the least amount of tackles that I do, the better. So we're going to go into just a big chest opener, guys. So grab our chair, okay? Now you can use a pillow if you want to. Popping two hands together and I'm dropping down. And what I'm trying to do is get a nice big lat stretch. Hands up. I'm just going to hold that. Now, for some people, you may not want to hold for 30 seconds. Now, this is the case. Coming up and coming down. We're just going to rep it out. So that's 2. We're going to do 10. Keeping those elbows straight. Try to feel the stretch through the outside. That's 6, keep going. Hands together. Good, guys. I'm going 9, and I've got 1 more to go, guys. 1 more to go. And that's 10. Now, the next shoulder I'm going to do, still using the chair, pop a pillow up. Going to pop our elbows up, and I'm going to drop back. And this is a mid-thoracic and shoulder one, so what you want to feel is in that lat area, in the middle of your back. My elbows are up, trying to keep my hands as much apart as possible. Don't let them do that, so try to be thumbs out. So that's 4, we're getting to 10. Good. Eight, keep going, nearly there. 9. 10. All right, so now we're going to stretch our posterior cuff. So if you've got a wall behind you, lucky you, arm across the body, I'm pulling this way. Now, what a lot of people do is their shoulder comes up, so come across, shoulder down, and then come across. And that should give you a nice stretch in your posterior cuff or posterior shoulder. Keep holding. I don't know if we'll get to 30 seconds with this because it's quite uncomfortable if you're someone with big shoulders. That's not a rap on myself, obviously, but if you do have, muscular tightness, it's quite hard. 30 seconds on the other side. Oh, lovely. I did do upper body today, so feeling a bit stiff. Good job, guys. Nearly there. 20 seconds to go. So keep pushing that shoulder down. It's not coming up to your ear. 5 seconds to go. All right. Now we're just going to go for our neck. So we've got some neck rolls to do. So I'm going to come down. Good. Good. Going to look over the other side and bring the ear down. Just doing 10. All right, now last exercise we're going to do, guys. Grab your band again. Now, we want to place the strap behind the neck, okay? Behind the neck. We then swap hands. So I was like this, I'm like this, I'm on my cheek, and I'm looking as far as I can. Oh, I'm just assisting with that band. Good, just about 8. Swapping over. So once again, on the cheek, this bottom hand's just still. Oh, no, doing about 8. All right, guys, now you've done your mobility after your rugby game. If you have enjoyed this today, I understand it's a longer video, but it's all about getting yourself right and recovering the day after the game. If you have enjoyed it, hit that subscribe button, guys, and I'll see you in another video. Thank you for joining me today.